Welcome back to It's Cosplay Time. As always, I am Chris, aka Mr. Zoom underscore 2028. Matt.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay. I don't think I was here for that part of the conversation. Hi, I'm TooTall or Airsoft TooTall on Instagram.
I am. Oh man, let me take this off. I'm hostage, or well, as the R6 hostage on TikTok.
And today we are here with special guest.
My name's Jamie Muffett, and I play Thatcher on Rainbow Six Siege. Hello.
Hello.
Round of applause for everyone.
Okay, for the first question, what made you want to get into acting/voice acting?
Well, I really enjoyed acting when I was a kid, and I sort of fell out of it, and my focus shifted to music, and so I sort of pursued that for a long time. And then I was attracted to voice acting more than anything, because I didn't want to have to worry about looking good, and which is vitally important when you look like me. And so I was attracted to voice acting because mainly the hours seemed attractive. I was teaching music and I was running a studio, and it was always late at night and really antisocial hours. And I was like, well, I record. I was, I had a lot of recording equipment and things like that. So I was like, let's give it a try. Let's try recording my voice and putting it on the internet. And I did that, and that's kind of how it started, because then I could sort of make my own hours and work during the day. So it's sort of a boringly practical initiation into this industry. But actually I fell back in love with acting, and I sort of rediscovered it, from when I was a kid. And I just realized how much I love it. And it just sort of, through a very sort of up and down journey, resulted in me doing it full time and absolutely having a blast with it and working on amazing projects like Rainbow Six. So that's that.
Okay. Is it my turn to ask the question now?
Yes, we're gonna go me, TooTall hostage, and then when the other co-host pops in, it's gonna be him last.
So when you went to do the quote unquote interview for R6, did they make you pick a list of characters to play, or did you send them a sample and they went, he sounds like this character, or he sounds like Thatcher?
Well, it was a casting. They were specifically casting Thatcher when I first came in for the role. And I don't live there anymore. I live just outside of Philly now, but I was living in New York at the time. And my agent just said, there's a video game, British guy, you're a British guy, go to this thing. So basically, and so I went to the casting, and yeah, it was quite a long time. It was like 5 or 6 years ago now, I guess. It was just an in-person casting. They had the characteristics of the guy they're looking for. And I went in, and I remember this distinctly because it really just formed the character in my mind very clearly. They described him as like a teacher that you admired, but were also a little bit scared of. And I've kind of run with that, description, and he really feels authentic to me as that. He's a cool guy, you trust him, but also you're kind of like a little intimidated by that guy because he's kind of a badass, and he's been places, he's seen things, he's done things. And they did a pretty good job of explaining. I was like, yeah, I can. I zoomed straight into that character, and it just felt authentic to me. And so yeah, they were specifically casting for him, and yeah, that's how it worked.
Yeah. Was there, like, while working with Siege and all that, was there anyone you enjoyed working with? If you had worked with them.
Initially, when I recorded all the in-game content before the game even was out, because it was obviously, I was in the first iteration of the game. It was just me and the director and some people from Ubisoft in the studio. So I'm just alone in the booth, screaming myself hoarse, and just trying to imagine like throwing grenades and being shot up the arse, and that's just sort of what you do as a voice actor. You have to sort of you have to build that world in your brain and use a lot of imagination. And I think they had some character art, and obviously they would describe the scenarios, and the script have specific things. But yeah, at first there was no interaction with other actors. Certainly, the Ubisoft crew are always cool. I love working with those people. They're amazing people. I love them. But the first actual collaborative kind of work that we did was for the Hammer and Scalpel video. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
I've seen that one, yeah.
Yeah, so we did that in Montreal a few years ago now, 2 years ago, something, maybe longer, and that was amazing. Carlo, who is Thermite, Carlo Mastroni, he directed that, and so it was my first time meeting Carlo, and we just got on like a house on fire. Like, he's such a cool dude, and we worked on that and we collaborated, and it was just amazing. It was just such a joyful experience, and it was my first time ever doing mocap, doing that as well. So that was cool.
All right, and the third co-host is.
Oh,
we
have audio
can't
issues
hear
already.
Is it mute?
Sorry about that. I didn't want to interrupt our lovely guest here. I'm Springy. I'm sorry I'm late. My other thing ran over, so now I'm here. Hey.
Nice to know where your priorities are there, Springy.
I know. I'm sorry. I have to record like 16 other things before I popped into here. I'm so sorry. I really am.
It's fine. I'm not
And
too.
Springy, your first question.
Oh yes. Let me do that real quick. Let's hope I don't say one that was already said, or else that's gonna be real bad for me, isn't it? Okay. Making sure I know what I'm going to ask. How long have you been voice acting for?
11 or 12 years, I can't remember. 12 years, coming up on 12 years. I was just saying before, when you were just gallivanting somewhere else, I started out in music and then transitioned into voiceover. But yeah, that was 2009. So coming up on 12 years ago, and loved almost every moment. Not always fun and games, but it's enjoyable. Trying to elongate this answer because otherwise it's just super short. Yeah, it's 12 years. The answer.
It's fine.
Yeah, I understand the frustrations with voice acting. I've had like 6 projects canceled.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was going to be a YouTube series called Sailor Moon Abridged, the anime, but that fell through.
Yeah, I mean, particularly with projects like this, with games. I mean, I know there was another Tom Clancy game, right, that was cancelled, like almost. It was in the Rainbow Six world. I'm not super familiar. I think it was cancelled at some point a few years ago. So I can imagine that would have been heartbreaking working on that and then it never coming out. Yeah, it's just part of the job. I never really believe something's actually gonna like hit the shelves until I see it. That's just the nature of the business, unfortunately. We get paid for our session time, I guess, so that's a good thing. But the most fun is when it comes out and you get to see the reaction and actually be able to play it and see the stuff. It's cool.
If only YouTube was paid.
Well, yeah. Experience. Look at it as an experience.
Yeah.
I have some stuff to put on the old voice acting rail.
Yeah, exactly. You always learn something from these projects as well. So, got a new character or two or something.
Okay. What has been your favorite convention to attend since voicing Thatcher.
Well, that's easy because I've only been to one. But it was amazing. We went to the Six Invitational last year. Yeah, a year ago. And it was yeah, if you only ever go to one, I guess that's probably a pretty good one to go to. I don't have anything to compare it to, of course, but it was fun, and everyone there was super enthusiastic, and the cosplayers, the pro players, the other talent that were there, everyone from Ubisoft, just the fans of the game. It was just a blast. We were there when obviously they had the CGI come out of Tournament of Champions, so we were there for that, sort of promoting that and talking about that. But the whole event was awesome. We had a great time, and it was just before everything shut down. So we scraped in, just under the wire there. It was of course the whole pandemic thing was being talked about. I remember everyone was like sanitizing religiously, but it was pretty cool, I have to say. Like I say, I don't have anything to compare it to, but I can't imagine it could be more fun. Anything else could be more fun. It would be fun to go to like a Comic-Con or something like that. I'd love to do that whenever those things come back again.
Yep, we had a group that was supposed to go to this year's invitational to cosplay, but because of a certain thing that will not be named because of community guidelines on YouTube, it didn't happen.
Oh, you're not allowed to mention it? Oh, I apologize.
It's like iffy. Like you have to kind of like dance around the word. Like you can't name it by name.
Oh, go add some videos then.
Well, but I think how you did it is fine.
Okay.
Like you left it just vague enough to I think skirt by.
All right, I'll try and be more vague moving forward if it comes up again. Hopefully, I don't get you into trouble.
Probably not.
No.
All right, next question. TooTall.
So, do you main Thatcher in R6? Yes or no?
Do I what? Sorry.
Do you main Thatcher if you play R6?
I feel terrible saying this, but the game intimidates me. It looks way too complicated. So, I enjoy watching it. I watch clips on YouTube when the Invitational was happening. I watch Twitch stuff sometimes, but getting in there and I would probably hold the controller the wrong way around. So let alone competing at this game. But of course, if I did, yeah, of course I would. I would like to, I know Martin Copping, he's like big into playing it now, right? He's really getting in there. Maybe I'll get to that stage at some point, but it just seems too overwhelming, to start. I guess there is like a path in, right? There is a way to train.
There are training missions in the beginning.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. But yeah, if I was to pick an operator, of course it'd be Thatcher. Freak everyone out on the
On voice chat?
Yeah.
Oh man. I lost my favorite. So what is your favorite thing about being a voice actor?
Well, it's creative, you come up with characters, the thing that I loved about acting was just creating people out of thin air, not being me, stepping into the shoes of other people. That's a lot of fun. Not that I'm like self-loathing or anything like that. It's like I don't want to be me anymore. But it's fun to just step into other people's shoes for 5 minutes here and there. A lot of voice acting compared to on-camera acting or theater acting is, there are fewer gatekeepers. You can just start doing it, and you're not waiting for someone to go, come and be in my film. And yeah, you can, look like the back end of a bus, and it doesn't matter when you're a voice actor, which I'm very happy for me. And you can do it in your PJs. You can work from home. I wouldn't go into a studio in my PJs, of course, but everything's done from home now, so that's brilliant. particularly with the events of the past year. Being able to work from home has been amazing. I feel very, very lucky that hasn't interrupted that too much. If anything, it's opened opportunities actually. Yeah, there are a ton of things that I love about being a voice actor. Getting to do something that other people appreciate, and things that people are passionate about. Obviously the gaming community are very, very passionate about this world, and obviously Siege fans, but other games too, and other projects, and it's just wonderful to be part of that. You can just walk into a community and be part of a community, and that's really cool. There's a bit of a collaboration element to it as well. So not just the other actors, but of course the production side too. That's a lot of fun. Mocap is difficult, but it's a big collaborative process. There's a lot of tech involved, of course. So that part was an unexpected joy. I thought it would be, like a lot of effort compared to just doing voiceover, which it is, but it's also at the same time, it's very rewarding. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I enjoy. I would stop if I didn't like it.
Did they make you wear the skin tight suit with the little like ping pong balls on it for mocap?
Yeah, they're not ping pong balls. They're tiny. They're little, like almost like bean sized things that are all over. And then they paint the dots on your face for the cameras. When you're doing it, it's kind of stressful. When I did Hammer and Scalpel, the helmets. Well, on the first day, it was all right. Because they put the helmets on and they have 3 cameras and they have 3 LED lights just kind of, blasting in your face the whole time, which is a lot. And it was a bit weird, and they sort of plug you in, and then you've got like a camera person and then a sound person booming you and stuff. But the second day, or the afternoon, whenever it was, I put the helmet on. I'm like, God, this is tight. Like, what's going on? And so they were like trying to fix it, trying to undo it, and I was like doing the lead up to that when I like beat the guy up with the pool cue and the pool ball stuff. Like when I'm walking in and closing the door, I was doing all that, and I thought I was going to puke. I was going to faint, like, because it was so tight, and I was just like, what is going on? Like I was like, I can't even remember my lines right now. And then the guy was like, oh yeah, we forgot to undo it from the morning session, the bit at the back. So he just adjusted the bit at the back, and I was like, oh, such a relief. And then it was fine. But they did try everything. It was one of those things. But yeah, the mocap stuff is wild. The tech. There's cameras all around you, so there's no like line where you have to like perform to, like you would in film or something. It's 3D. It's everywhere. You don't know what you're looking at. You're just being, on the volume. Yeah, it's fun. You have to wear all the pajamas, to have the balls on them, and they have to, like what's the word? They have to sync all the computers up with your, performance and the location on the volume and stuff. And I don't know, it's a lot, but it's fun. It's fun. I wouldn't want to do it every day.
I know what you mean with the whole helmet business.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
But
yeah, but
you put one of these on wrong, it's a lot like when yours is too tight.
Oh yeah, it's a lot when it's too tight and it's crushing your skull. It's weird because when you talk to people, if you're interacting with another actor, you have to like look, because you got this like band coming out with the cameras and the lights. You have to look over it, so you have to sort of tip your head down, sort of a slightly unnatural way. But your body adapts and gets used to those things, of course. But yeah, it's fun. I don't know if I'm how much of this I'm allowed to reveal, but I'm just splurging it all out there. Who knows?
I believe I'm up next, right?
I think so.
Okay. Um. So, is there any other franchise that you hope to be a part of in the future?
Um, I wouldn't mind being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That would be awesome.
Maybe not as Thatcher. That would be fun. Any of those things would be awesome, of course. I am in something that is like a franchise that's coming up, which I just wish I could talk about, but I can't. And I'm very excited about. But that will be announced later this year. But really, any opportunity to play characters and connect to people and collaborate on these great projects is I am up for, you know. So you know, I anything in particular? Nothing is springing to mind. You know, because really, when you're playing a character, you're playing a character. It is sort of does the world doesn't matter. You've just got to. It matters in terms of your when you're in character. That character has to inhabit that world authentically. But from my perspective as Jamie, you know, I'm just happy to, you know, go there and do that and be that person. You know, happy to do it.
Awesome.
Sorry, that was a non-answer to that question.
What was your first voice acting role?
It was like a hype video for a what was the product? It was it was something to do with like sailing, like boat supplies or something. And like we're gonna like I can't remember. It was something to do with some like mechanical pulley or some. I was going to swear then. I'm sorry. There's some
No,
stuff
you can go
to do
ahead.
with. Yeah, okay. It was some like technical bit on a boat, and they were like, "This is gonna change your world." Like it was ridiculous. It was just some silly little thing, and but they just for some reason they wanted me to do it. So I was like, sure. Like if you're willing to pay me to do that, whatever you want. You know, when you're starting out, beggars can't be choosers. You know, you have to do what you do what you do, and it was it was fine. You know, it was nothing awful. But yeah, I did that. I mean, I put a profile up online on this sort of online like listing of voice actors, and yeah, within a week I'd booked that. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. This was the industry was quite different 12 years ago, to be fair. There are fewer people trying to get into it, but that was my first taste of it, and I think I just had like a stress-induced sneezing fit just before the recording, because I don't know what it was. I was like, the worst thing that could happen really before you go in to start recording is like you get really snotty. But that, yeah, so that was fun. They paid me for it, you know. They were happy.
So has there been a time where you were worried about messing up or that you weren't right for the part?
Oh, messing up, yes, all the time, still. I mean, to be honest, like it is a lot when I mean, if you stop to think about, for example, the mocap stuff. If you stop to think about it too much, it's a lot of stress because you've got a whole crew of people behind computers. You've got all your peers who are actors. You've got the director and the writer, and you've got a camera person on you. You've got a boom person. Like all these people are just if you mess up, you're elongating their day, you're complicating their life. So if you think about it too much, it's a lot of stress. And you've got a lot of tech involved in that as well. And, we had some issues with when we were shooting the Hammer and Scalpel with things not syncing and things like that. So it felt a lot, so you have to sort of switch that off in some ways. I don't think I've ever felt wrong for the part because that's not really my decision, so pressure's off for me. You know, if someone chooses to cast me for something, in my mind, and if I'm wrong for it, that's their fault. It's not my fault. So I made a decision at some point to just really never feel that I wasn't good enough for the part, because, you know, if I'm not, I won't get the role. And that happens every single day as a voice actor. You don't get most things you apply for. So, you know, that's just the nature of the job. Or any actor, you know, unless you're like just getting offers as a celebrity, you're auditioning for things. So, you know, that's just the nature of it. But yeah, pressure, certainly. Not so much in when I'm just doing regular voiceover now. I've just been doing it for such a long time. You know, I just sort of go in and read the thing, and just as long as I don't make too many mistakes, you know, I feel like I'm doing all right. But yeah, there's, you know, in certain circumstances when there's a lot riding on it, and, you know, there's a lot of people around, that's definitely out of my comfort zone, because I'm almost primarily an in booth voice actor. A lot of the other people in the game are film and TV actors who do game stuff. Ooh, I pressed a button. Sorry. Who do game stuff as well and voice stuff as well. But I'm coming at it from a different perspective. I'm definitely a voice actor who does this stuff occasionally. So there's a long-winded answer to that question. I apologize.
Austin.
Katie?
Oh, sorry. What advice would you give someone who wants to get into voice acting, like just starting off?
I think he froze.
I think so too. Oh, no.
Well, ain't this exciting?
Jamie, you froze.
And we're halfway into the interview.
Let's see, how do we solve this? Give it a second, see if it catches up. Oh, there you are. You're unfrozen.
Oh, I switched my camera off. Now I'm back. How's that?
All right, there you are.
There we go.
All right. I don't know what happened there. I think it's when I hit the keyboard, I broke something. Sorry about that. I was getting too animated. What was the question? I forgot. Advice for getting in, right? I think research is the main thing. There's so many like free resources out there for finding out about voiceover, voice acting, and getting started in this industry, that you can just spend weeks and weeks just studying up on that stuff. I've got a podcast which I don't release too much anymore. It's more sporadic, but I set it up for this very reason, to help people get into the industry. It's called VO School. And each episode is a different subject of how to get into voiceover. So I would recommend people check that out. There are YouTube channels, there are blogs. And then at some point, I would recommend reaching out to a coach. And they'll advise you whether this is something you should pursue. And it's very rarely the fact that you have a not very good voice that you won't get into this. It's more often the case that maybe your life situation at the time is not ideal for that. So what I mean by that is it does take time and effort and a little bit of financial investment in like coaching and stuff like that to do this. So like I do a bit of coaching. I help people get into the industry as sort of a little side thing that I do, just as, you know, for the thing on the side. And I often try to dissuade people from pursuing this straight away if, and only if in this situation, if they've like lost their job and they're looking to get into this to earn money. It's a very, very difficult industry to get in and earn money soon, almost impossible. it's quite the opposite. It actually takes a bit of money, training, getting equipment, and like spending time going to events, or like even just setting up a website and all that kind of stuff. It takes some investment. So if you do the ground, research and save up a bit of money for things like that, and learning opportunities, you can come into this the right way. And there's almost always going to, probably most people can find a little corner, a little niche of this industry that they do well and that they enjoy, and that they the market is willing to embrace them. So it's less so about like your voice particularly, and more about what you're interested in, your life situation, your free time, stuff like that, and your ability to just throw yourself into this thing, really, because it's hard to do it half-heartedly, because oftentimes you just end up like spinning your wheels, for a long time. There has to be a plan and a focus to all of your action to move you forward, to have a goal and to strive for that. Otherwise you're just throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks, and that doesn't often work. So my first bit of advice is to do a ton of research, and then get some specific feedback from a coach as to what they think about your situation and where they think you should put your efforts. And then, of course, at some point you'll have to have an ability to record yourself. Right now, almost everything is done entirely from home. I've done one in-studio session since March. Everything else is recorded from home. So sooner or later, you're going to have to be able to record yourself. But that takes, a little bit of fiddling around, setting up a space, buying some equipment if you don't have any right now. So yeah, you're starting to get into really investing in this thing, and then the hustle really begins, and it takes a long time. So I try to disavow people of this idea that it's like a quick money spinning, like, success eruption, because it just doesn't work like that. And that's not necessarily depressing, because a lot of it's Darwinian in terms of it weeds out the people that don't want it enough, or that aren't willing to put in the work. So if you are, and you really love, and you're really passionate about it, and you really want to do it, you immediately have a much greater chance of succeeding than the people are like, maybe I'll fancy giving that a try, or maybe I'll do like photography, or maybe I'll do, ballet. I don't know. So that's a cool thing. That's what I like about it. Actually, it rewards hard work and effort and passion. Yeah.
Awesome. I do believe I am next, and I would like to ask you, do you collect anything?
Well, no, not specifically. Do I collect anything? No, not really. I got a really large selection of wacky socks that people keep buying me, and I don't throw them away. So I guess socks. I'm not really very fashionable, so my only little bit of flair is my sock collection. It's not very, very cool. Sorry about that.
It's fine.
I want Ubisoft to bring out a Thatcher chibi, I don't think they've got one. So if you guys can pressure them into doing that, I would love one of those. Let's start a campaign.
Yes.
Starts here. Oh.
Sorry, I just heard my dad sneeze.
Oh. I
thought that was like a dog came into your room or something.
Me too. I thought it was a dog barking.
Continue.
Next.
Chris, I can see you turning red underneath your helmet.
Yeah, I forgot to turn on the fan before I came in here, and there's too many wires behind me to turn it on.
Do people know what you look like, Chris, or is this a disguise?
They know what I look like, but every episode I usually have one of these different helmets on.
Oh, I see. You should have put a gas mask on.
I could, but then you can't hear. But this is also like an almost 10-pound helmet.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
God,
Is it
man.
metal?
Gray Shop doesn't mess around.
The faceplate is metal. The rest is like a like just a hard material.
Yeah, like a fiberglass or something. Or
Hard polymer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Even though it's just an imitation helmet, the company doesn't play around with. They make it the same weight that the actual helmet is.
Well, you're giving your neck muscles a little workout, right?
Yeah. I forgot to read a question. Have you watched any R6 cosplayer content on TikTok or have seen any TikToks?
Yes, I'm on TikTok, and it's all thanks to Martin Copping. And he basically bullied us into joining TikTok at the invitational. He all but took the phones out of our hands and did it for us. Because I'm way too old to be on TikTok. But Martin just sort of told us we had to. So we just did what we were told. And yeah, I go on TikTok fairly regularly every now and again. And of course, I see a lot of Rainbow Six stuff. It's all over TikTok. Which is cool. And of course, we met a whole bunch of cosplayers at the invitational. So yeah, I've seen a ton of it. It's great. I like the videos every now and again that you guys do, and you do missions and stuff, and that's really cool. It was a long time ago. There was one. They did the Friends intro with the. Did you guys see that?
I was a part of that video.
Oh yeah, you were. Oh, nice one. That was good. I like that. That was enjoyable. I think was Thatcher in that? I forget. I think he was.
No, so it was Mute, IQ, Blackbeard, and everyone thought I was Vigil for some reason, but I wasn't. I was in my airsoft gear. I didn't cosplay. I didn't have a cosplay back then, so I just threw on my gear.
Yeah. So I've seen a fair amount of stuff, and I don't know what I'm doing with TikTok, but I'm sort of doing things. I do things every now and again when the moment strikes me. Yeah, I've seen a ton of stuff on TikTok. It's cool. I love seeing. I met a guy who did Thatcher at Invitational, a ludicrously tall fellow, and his Thatcher was awesome. He had the little EMP grenade thing. Like that was so intricate and incredibly well made, and that had a bit of weight to it as well. That was cool.
You don't do any of the dancing trends on TikTok?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You not doing any of the dancing trends that all the youngins are doing?
Oh no, I'd bust a hip trying to do something like that, or like.
I'm way too
Some
uncoordinated.
of those dancers like move like that.
No one wants that. Me least of all. No.
Okay, so have you ever thought about cosplaying Thatcher and then doing TikTok videos?
I thought it would be fun to go to the invitational fully in the Thatcher gear, because other than having not much hair on my head, I'm not a million miles away from how he looks. So I figure if I could like do it up and put on the voice and just like be him, like fully envelop myself in being Thatcher, I thought that would be fun. And I feel so connected to him as a person. Like I so easily relate to that character so well that it would not be difficult. But I think probably Ubisoft would have had a problem with that, because I don't want to start adding to like the lore of the character or anything like that by just going off and talking about things that are not involved in the game and their plans for everything. So I have to be careful about that kind of stuff, and we have to be careful about creating content that is not part of the Ubisoft world for obvious reasons, because they have all their future plans in place. So it would be fun, but at the same time also, I have no skills creating the costumes or anything like that. There's no way I could do that. I don't know if you could just buy them. I don't know how it works, but no plans are afoot. I have a beard now. if that counts.
Yes. What is your opinion on Thatcher as a character, like a whole character?
I love. I think he's great. I think he's awesome. He's the dad. He's the dad of the game. But he's like a badass dad that still kicks ass. He's old as hell, but he just can beat the shit out of everyone. That's cool. But he's got a heart of gold. He cares about his team, and he really wants to nurture the newcomers to Team Rainbow. And I love that sort of parental quality to his character. And he's got this really gruff exterior, but he's a genuinely decent guy. That's what I love about the character. He's not just a sort of shoot first, think, worry about the consequences later. There's more going on, which is what I love about him. And I at first, when you you get the character, it's all a bit prototypical, it's sort of a badass SAS guy. Okay, right, whatever. But they have obviously, Ubisoft have really delved into these characters, and they care about them, and I love the fact that they're exploring the backstory more, and they're delving deeper into who these people are and how they interact with each other, and things like that. So I think there's a lot to explore with Thatcher, because he's not just like tough guy number 3. He's actually got some depth. So I think he's a cool dude.
Awesome. Everybody else is asking specific questions. I'm going to be asking about what's your favorite pizza place and what type of pizza.
We must know.
My favorite pizza. I mean, I lived in New York for a long time, so of course I'm going to say New York pizza. And the place that was near us in New York on the Upper East Side. And I forget what it's called. It's not a chain. It was just a one-off pizza place that was it was great. I love that pizza. So you like chains? I don't know. Does Cozy still exist? COSI? Is that just a New York thing?
Not in California.
Okay. That was I think that was a Northeast chain that I don't even know exists anymore. But they had it was like on flatbread. It wasn't round. It was sort of like a sort of pita bread or something. That was great. It was super fresh. Put like basil leaves on it and stuff. I don't know what they did. It was nice. It was good pizza. But it might not exist, and you've never heard of it. So that's my answer.
Well, it sounds delicious.
It does.
It is. It was.
Okay. If you weren't voicing Thatcher, which operator would you want to voice?
Any country? Does it matter? Does it matter that I'm not like Tachanka is the obvious one, right? Let me think. Sledge is quite fun because he's Scottish, so that's a fun one. I'm jealous of Ryan. You guys, have you interviewed Ryan? He'd be
Uh,
great.
Not yet.
You should speak to Ryan. I think probably Sledge would be quite fun because of the Scottish thing, and just he's kind of like just a big brute, big Scottish brute. Not a million miles away from Thatcher, but I don't know, maybe Kavira.
Male
That would be a
Kavira.
stretch. It would be a stretch,
Yes.
but I'd give it a try.
It's my turn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you were getting into voice acting, was it rough in the start or from the start of it?
Yes, it's very difficult. It's like you book the occasional gig, and then you have a quiet period, and then you book a couple of gigs again, and you're like, oh, everything's great, and then it dries up, and it's up, down, up, down, up, down. You know, we didn't have very much money for a very long time. It's a tough gig. Being an actor in general is a tough gig, really. You only ever hear about, the successful people, generally speaking. There's a lot of people who just struggle, and it's just constant struggle. And so from a practical standpoint, it's difficult, from a sort of financial standpoint. Supporting yourself as an actor or voice actor is a lot of work, and you get a lot of rejection, of course. So if you don't have a certain arrogance, it's not arrogance as in you think you're amazing. It's arrogance as you have a sort of self-belief that no, it's still going to happen. It's still going to happen, even when you're being rejected time after time after time, and the evidence suggests you're not going to do anything in this thing. You just have to keep sticking it out. That's it's not tough as in working down a mine. That's physically tough, but it can be just draining emotionally, just facing all that rejection, and so there is that aspect to it. But then it was like a prank. Like I would just get to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm done. And then I book a gig, and it would just reel you back in, and then it was just like dangling on a string for such a long time, But yeah, so I forget the question, but yeah, there are aspects that are challenging for sure, particularly when you start, and the hustle never ends. It's not like you can just take your foot off the gas, even if you get a big gig, because that's no guarantee of future work. So it's not as challenging, not as you don't have as many self-doubts once you've crossed a certain threshold. But it's still a challenge every now and again. Is that your dad sneezing again?
I don't know. Oh man, I gotta think of more questions because I had two and you answered them earlier on. I was like, oh no. If you could travel, if you could travel the world, where would you go? No cost, cost doesn't matter. Where would you go?
Well, it's wintertime here in Philly, so somewhere tropical and devoid of people would be quite nice. I'm not really one to lay on a beach, but after the last year, I want to just go to like Mauritius or something and just stay in one of those like huts, that with the glass bottoms or whatever, and just like no one's around. It's just nature and nothing and fresh air and yeah, that sounds pretty good. It's not very culturally fulfilling, I know, but in terms of just an antidote to what's happened in the last year, I think that would be pretty nice. I'd like to go back to the UK just to visit the homeland, visit the motherland. I haven't been back in a few years. So I'd like to see friends and family, of course. I haven't been back in a while, so that's important, of course, to get back to your roots for a little while. So either Mauritius or the motherland, but I would choose Mauritius.
Awesome. So now I am up. What is your favorite thing to do when you're not acting? Sorry.
I still play music. I like just thrashing on the drums. My wife and I like walking in nature. We like animals, so there's some nice parks around here. There's a park around here where people dump cats, and there's 800 cats in this park. So there are all these like cat stations. So you can walk around. If you go there at like dusk, there are deer, there are cats, there are vultures. It's a really weird combination of creatures that just live cohesively together. So that's fun. That's enjoyable. Just walking around, and there's like a lake and stuff. So we do that quite a lot. I mean, we don't do very much right now, of course. No one does. But walking and drumming and eating chocolate. That's what I do outside of voice acting. Not too much chocolate, otherwise it affects your voice acting. Affects your voice. But, you know, I'm well prepared.
Is there a book that, if turned into a movie, that you would want to act or voice act for?
Oh, good question, Lord of the Rings. I would love to be in the Lord of the Rings show, but obviously it's not going to happen. Well, the Tolkien show. I don't know if it's to do with Lord of the Rings, but it's the sort of Amazon show, right? That's being filmed. Immediately, that would just jumped into my mind. I was reading Lord of the Rings when the first movies came out, and I was like halfway through, and you know, I was going to university, and it was yeah, it was just a formative time in my life. I think that I was consuming all of that stuff, and it was just an important time in my life. So I think I have an emotional connection to that world. So I would love to, you know, now Game of Thrones has disappeared. I think the Lord of the Rings show is going to take that mantle, and you know, that would be amazing. I mean, it would be great to voice a creature or something, so that you know, I don't want to be on camera. So that would be that would be fun to be part of that. You know, from the comfort of my home. But yeah, that is the first thing that jumps to mind. Yeah, something Tolkien. Doesn't have to be Lord of the Rings, but I'd even do The Hobbit.
So some voice actors are able to continue recording while COVID was happening. Were you able to do the same?
Boy.
Oh wait, did we already answer that?
No, you said the thing that shall not be named by name.
You said the C word.
Oh, I wasn't here whenever the C word was going on. Skip me.
No, what was the question?
I could say, yeah. I mean, I've always recorded from home because I have this sort of audio engineering background. So I've always had a home studio. Even in New York, when a lot of the work was recorded in studio, I was working from home. So the transition was very straightforward for me. I know a lot of actors who were just reliant on going into studios, and initially they all shut down, and then they kind of slowly kind of opened back up. And I think actors are now terrified, rightly so, for going back in, particularly when you're voicing, because like games and stuff, you are screaming and shouting and bellowing clouds of your own gob out into the air. I don't want to walk into a booth having someone just done that, right? So we're very cautious about that. So nowadays, there's tech that allows us to connect our home studios to studios. So the engineer can go into the studio wherever it is, and then they'll connect to us via this thing, Source Connect, and in our home studio. And so long as you've got a decent microphone, it's quiet, the space sounds good. They're just recording you as if you're in the booth, but you're just a little bit further away than the booth. You're in your home. But essentially from their perspective, it feels like the same thing. They've just got Pro Tools open and they're just recording and starting and stopping. And it's just you're just a little bit further away than the booth next door to them with the window. So yeah, I mean, I've been working on projects that I actually wouldn't have gotten pre the C word because there isn't the geographical restriction now. So I've been working on a thing in LA that I wouldn't have gotten because they would have just had local hire talent do that. So now I can do that. I've been doing that, and I'm at an advantage because I have a studio. So they're actually looking for people with studios, and it doesn't matter where they are, as long as you're working on their time zone. So it's been awful, of course, for a lot of people, and terrible, terrible thing. But there are some silver linings, and that is one of them for me, is the ability to work on projects that I probably wouldn't have gotten access to before. So yeah, I have.
Are there any projects you're working on that you're allowed to talk about?
Well, they just announced that Thatcher's going to be in Ghost Recon. So that's a fun thing, right? That's starting next week, I believe. Next 21st, I think. So that's fun. I just had a little part in Grand Theft Auto 5. I was doing some radio promo announcements on one of the radio stations. That was kind of fun. So that just got released in the latest update. And there's always stuff happening, and whenever people ask me this question, my mind always goes blank. It's like, oh, what have I heard you in? I'm like, I can't think of anything. There's a few things, and yeah, I can't talk about them, so I can't say. But a lot of my work is a mixture. It's a mixture, really. Some high profile game stuff. There's like commercials, even like boring stuff like narration and corporate stuff, and a whole mixture of work that goes into what I do. Anything else that's interesting that might interest you? Don't know. Can't think of it. I'll come back to you on that one. I know there are things that I'm forgetting, so I apologize, but I'll come back to you on that one.
Springy?
Oh, it's my turn now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Let me look through the quick questions real quick. Sorry if I seem very unorganized. I got told about the interview 2 hours ago. Well, technically 3. Technically 3 now.
I was too.
But that's completely fine. So, doobie-doo. Why? I already asked that one. Oh, right. I already had one in my head. I'm so sorry. Scatterbrain today.
Fine.
What was your favorite show growing up, and did that at all affect the type of characters that you try to voice?
Oh, that's a good question. You guys probably don't know this, but there was a show. It's so dumb now. When I watch it, I'm like, God, how did I like that? And it's not dumb. The jokes, it's a comedy show, so I don't know if it's aged very well. There was a show called Red Dwarf, and it was like, it was about like a group of. It was like a sci-fi show, but it was a comedy show, and it was set in space. And I don't know why this jumped into my brain, but for some reason it did. All the characters are kind of wacky, but if you Google that or search on YouTube, I think you'd be like, what the hell, Red Dwarf? Does this guy like this show? But I loved it. And I think it was probably because I was like a teenager and I was like, teenager. So I loved it. I don't know. I think probably some of my comic sensibilities, and I wouldn't call myself particularly funny, but I think probably whatever comic sensibilities I do have probably come from that. The Thatcher is basically me doing a bad Sean Bean impression. So, like, who is he in Lord of the Rings? Boromir, isn't it? He's
Yeah.
So the movie Lord of the Rings, second plug for that. Doesn't like it needs another plug. From me, that was influential, really. I mean, a lot of the stereotypical British characters, I think, in modern American film and TV borrow a lot from the sort of classical sort of, fantastical worlds, like Blizzard Games and stuff like that, and Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and those kind of shows. They, as a little cliche, I guess. I guess those two. I'm trying to think if there's any. What other shows did I love? Definitely look up Red Dwarf, and you'll be confused as hell, I'm sure. It'll be fun. It'll be fun, interesting experiment. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else. Sorry, those two.
All right, I think I have 2 questions left on my list. And the first one of the 2 is, if you could design your own skin or look for Thatcher, what would it look like?
If I could design what?
Your own uniform for Thatcher in game.
Try not to be a smart ass when I answer this question and try to be honest. I'd like to see him forcibly retired and go and work at a university and actually teach the students about counterintelligence and insertion and breaching and all those kind of things that he probably knows a ton about. So it'd be kind of funny to see him in a sort of tweed suit or a jumper, and it just doesn't work. He kind of hates it the whole time. It's ill-fitting and uncomfortable. I think that would be kind of a fun look for him. And then I don't know, it's in an old Ivy League university kind of a scenario, and then someone there's some terrible terrorist event that he has to go and do I don't know, goes into Thatcher mode. So I think that. It's just off the top of my head. I'm just totally, talking out of my ass. But I think that would be fun. See him in an awkward suit.
That would be fun.
Just pulling pistols out of his coat.
Yeah. He just happens to have an EMP on him at
all times.
Yeah, as you do.
Little EMP in the thermos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He wouldn't have one of those fancy projectors. That it would be like a chalkboard. Blackboard.
Oh, no.
And he would refuse to allow people to have their laptops, the students to have their laptops. It would be, pen and paper only. No phones.
Oh no, not one of those teachers.
Oh,
I had one. Oh my god.
I'm getting flashbacks. Yeah, I think that's what he should be. I think they should have Rainbow Six, the X-Men school, but with Rainbow Six operators teaching all the kids how to shoot people.
Teach the recruits.
Yeah. He'd be like Professor Xavier in his wheelchair. That would be Thatcher.
Matt?
I'm I'm gonna have to be dismissed because I'm being summoned downstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to see.
about that. I might have to leave. I'm gonna have to leave the call though. So sorry about that. Have fun with your day. I'll some other time.
See ya.
Hey, Matt.
See you later, man. Have a nice day.
Okay, hostage.
Yo, what are your thoughts about Dungeons and Dragons? I just seen my it's popping.
I honestly don't. I don't know the world. I apologize. I know people like we here where I'm recording from right now is my studio, and we have a load of voice actors, local voice actors who meet up here, and a bunch of them are really into it, and they talk about it. And as soon as they start talking about it, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it sounds cool and everything, but it's not something that has crossed my path. But it seems cool, like totally down. But I apologize. I know absolutely nothing about it. Sorry about
I
that.
am in the same boat with that one.
Don't worry, I know some. I've been playing, so you're not the only one.
I do want to play though.
Yeah, it seems cool.
I have a starter kit we could try after Zoom. I'll initiate you to D&D.
I know that they're very proud of their dice. That's like a big thing, right?
Oh, there she goes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I hear them talking about their dice all the time. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
Nice.
without losing
Same.
them. There we go. There's my dice.
Is that something? Is Critical Role? Is that part of that?
Oh,
That's no. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay. Yeah.
I need
it's
to
not
start
as
watching it.
yeah.
Talking about it.
Man, the Critical Role even has action figures on Hot Toys.
Oh. Cool.
Springy, I think it's your turn for question.
Yes.
Yep. Let's see if I can cook one up in my brain. Let's see if my brain will be working today. Since this is an interview show, how many times have you been interviewed before? Either about this character in particular, or anything in general.
Not too many times. A few times. I mean, been on podcasts and YouTube talking about voiceover, and I've been brought into. I've spoken to some of the students at Syracuse a few times who are wanting to learn about, like they're studying media and stuff. And I've done some articles for Backstage magazine. So a few times, not like a ton. I'm hardly a celebrity, but interesting that I do this job. It's interesting to people sometimes, so I talk about that. But I think how have I spoken to people about Rainbow Six? I think this might be the first time specifically just about Rainbow Six. Might be the first one. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats. Lucky you. Yeah. They're just generally about voice acting more than anything. It's an interesting subject to people. So, and the fact that I have a podcast and I teach as well. So I think people are like, oh, he might know how to get started in it. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, you're kind of a celebrity. You're on YouTube's #2 interview show.
Well, there we go. I am now. I'm a celebrity now.
All right, my final question. Who do you recommend or want to see on the show next?
I think you should interview Ryan, who plays Sledge, or Carlo, who plays Thermite. They're both very cool. I think Ryan plays the game and he's pretty good. So I think he would be a great person to speak to. You've spoken to Mozzie, right? You've spoken to Martin?
Yeah, we've already interviewed Martin and Renata.
Okay. I love both of those two people. They're wonderful people. Yeah, you should speak to... I would reach out to Ryan. He's great. He's a really nice guy. He's based in New York. He's an actor. And yeah, he's like me. He's been in it since the start. So I would recommend him.
Katie, do you have any final questions?
No. I got nothing, guys. I'm all in.
All right.
Here, I'll just steal one from my own show. Don't worry, it's not the one you said no to. It's do you have any questions for any future guests that Zoom will have to write down?
Oh.
Or to rephrase, do you have any questions for the interviewers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do I have any questions that you should ask them? Is that the question?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
But Chris tried to change it.
I'm going to go with your question. I'm going to go with your question. How did Ryan perfect his beautiful Scottish accent? Because he's American. And does he have heritage? Does he have Scottish heritage? His last name suggests that he does, but I don't want to leap to conclusions about that. Because he pulls it off very well. He does a good Scottish accent. When we did the Tournament Champions video, we had the little. There's a bit of that where all the operators are being interviewed by Harry, and it was me and Ryan were doing our bit together. So we had a little back and forth. So that was fun working with Ryan. That was fun. But it was good. I was impressed with his Scottish accent. That was good. So how did he get that so good? And is it authentic?
The world needs to know.
Yes. Trying to think of something inappropriate, but I think that's probably right. I don't want to go too far. Yeah. Yeah. That would be
all right. I think it is time for the outro now. All right. As always, this has been It's Cosplay Time. I am Chris, aka Mr. Zoom _2028.
Hostage. Just you find me anywhere, man. It's hostage.
And then I assume it's my turn because I'm new to being on this show. I'm Springy. Springtrap 1123. You can also find me on Demon Interviews. Woo! Where I'm usually at, not here.
And our special guest has been
Jamie Muffett. I play Thatcher, and you can find me on Twitter. And I just changed the handle today. It's Jamie Muffett VO, and I'm also on TikTok, believe it or not. And I think it's just my name, Jamie Muffett. So have at it, and lower your expectations because it's all rubbish.
Question. I've been dying to kind of ask. Can you say the line?
Can I say the line? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Laser sights.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Yeah.
all right, everybody. Thank you for watching, and good night.